Welcome back to Hodesh Hockey here on YouTube. And the Kings are good again, kind of. I don't know. Let's go through the games. Let's talk about the team and enjoy the Vodcast. So the Kings win 5-1 against Edmonton. If you remember earlier in the season, they won 5-1 against Toronto as well. So nice score line for the Kings, but honestly, I want to talk about the game before the McDavid major when it was still 2-1 because tonight was just a really good game from the Kings. I talked about it in the last video when we played Carolina, how that's the kind of team I think the Kings want to emulate, and I think they did that tonight. On the forecheck tonight, it was so good. All the guys were going hard after the puck. Kempe, his name's going to come up a couple times. He scored twice tonight, but he just recently, he looks so good on the forecheck. I think playing on that top line with Kopitar, I don't know if that's given him confidence. I think just overall, he's matured a little bit. I think that's kind of a help for his consistency issues, which have not popped up yet. Hopefully, knock on wood, but he's been pretty good there. But he's been really good tonight. Trevor Moore, who was called out earlier today, he comes on the board twice with a goal and an assist. He was really good tonight. Really, the whole team just forechecking really hard, back checking very well against obviously one of the scarier teams with Edmonton Oilers. And I don't know if the hot take, which side the hot take is on of, the Oilers aren't good or the Oilers are actually good when you take McDavid and Draisaitl out of the equation. But I don't know. Watching the game tonight, I don't watch much hockey besides the Kings game, so this is my first time watching the Oilers this year. And maybe it's an off night for them, but without McDavid and Draisaitl putting up the points, I just don't think they're that good of a team. I don't know. I mean, obviously the goaltending is not great there. With no Mike Smith. The defense, they have some injuries, but I don't know. The team just didn't look very good, and the Kings took advantage by just outplaying them. And it's something that I talk about when the Kings lose to teams like Toronto, and if they were going to lose to the Oilers, we're losing to teams because we lack skill, and the way you combat that is just by outworking them, and that's what the Kings did tonight. And I was super impressed with the game. Jonathan Quick was able to make the saves when we needed him, just again proving that he is the number one goalkeeper on this team. He is back to Jonathan Quick form, which is really nice to have. But yeah, I mean, just a great game. And then obviously late in the third period, McDavid gets the 5-minute major for boarding, sent out of the game. And for a power play that's been atrocious, honestly, negative for the Kings. I mean, they gave up one of the shorthanded goals tonight. They got 3 goals, and Kempe gets his revenge by getting his 10th goal of the year. He's the first player into double digits. It's taken the team a while, but like I said, Kempe he's really coming into his own. And as a day one Kempe fan and someone who's had to fight online battles with Kings fans wanting to get rid of him or not having faith in him, it's nice to see. I always, in my head, I feel like Kempe is the poor man's McDavid, where if you can give him the puck and he has time and space, he can really just attack the net and score, which he did with his first goal. Is a really nice goal. But yeah, I mean, for him to be leading the team right now and with Iafallo right behind him, those are the two kind of middle tier leaders of the team. They're kind of the old guard now when you talk about how young and new everyone on the team is right now. They've been here for 5-6 years together, so it's nice to see them kind of taking that next step. And again, it was just a solid game. I mean, it's so, I keep saying how hard it is to talk about the team because it's so up and down, but like, this is the game that I wish the team could just look at on repeat before every game and just believe in themselves. And I do think they believe in themselves because a 2-1 lead against Edmonton is not safe at all. And they were able to hang on with again, really good defense, just working really hard. Again, Kempe, I mean, couple different times, just like really working hard on the back check to stop a play. And that, when you see one guy doing it, it goes down the lineup. Other guys see it and they step up too. And I just hope that this is a game that the Kings can build on and realize that, look, it doesn't matter how good the other team is. It doesn't matter if we don't match up on a skill basis and we can't score goals like the other team can. We can outwork them. And this team has players that can outwork other teams. You have guys like Kempe. You have guys like Dano. You have guys like Iafallo, Arvidsson, Trevor Moore, Blake Lizotte, who wasn't playing tonight. That's how this team needs to play. And they did it tonight against one of the top teams in the NHL. And they win 5-1. They get rewarded. Tomorrow, they're going to play one of the worst teams in the NHL with a new coach. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I really just hope that the Kings can continue playing like this. I don't expect a 5-1 victory all the time, but a 2-1 lead late in the game, just being able to hold on to it by just continuing to play hard, checking hard in the defensive zone, forechecking when you get a chance, getting pucks on the net. That was really something that the Kings were doing well tonight. They weren't just getting the puck on the net, but they were getting pucks on net in good areas and good scoring chances. And, that's something that's just not been happening enough. And I think it's just a mental mindset. You have to go into the game wanting to get into the offensive zone, hunt the puck down. And when you get it, getting a shot, but, not having it get blocked by a defenseman, not shooting it wide, really trying to create something without overcomplicating it and passing the puck to a defender and having it go the other way. So all in all, a really good performance to the Kings. Like I said, great performance up until the 5-minute major, and then the 5-minute major, being able to score 3 goals on a 5-minute power play was really good for the Kings. I mean, I was like, when it happened, honestly, I was kind of expecting the Kings to give up another shorthanded goal and somehow it would go to overtime. But they were able to hold on, and again, hopefully they can keep this momentum and just this mindset that they played with tonight and bring it into the next game and the games beyond. All right, so we go on to the Canucks game, and the trap game of all trap games. Right after they fired their coach, the Canucks come out hot and dominated the Kings. Very tough game for the Kings, tough game to watch, and not something the Kings want to relive. The next game was against the Dallas Stars, and it was a complete opposite. 4-0 against the Canucks. Here, the Kings win 4-0 against the Stars, and a couple empty nets that padded the total, but just a pretty solid game for the Kings. I think from what I've seen from the Kings so far this year, I think the Kings have the skill to be one of the top teams in the league. I really do. If they could finish. The fact that we can't score goals is the only thing that stops us from actually being a competent team, because forechecking, the Kings have it. You see so many games where, especially in the first period, the Kings come out so strong and they're creating a lot of chances. If they don't score early in the first period, I feel like that's when the games kind of can get really tough for the Kings, because the other team gets their bounce back, and if they put 1 or 2 in the net, sometimes the Kings have trouble, bouncing back and scoring. So in this game, the Kings were able to score, but like I said, it's just defensively, the Kings are very good. Jonathan Quick is playing at an unbelievable level right now. They just can't score enough to really guarantee wins for games that they're playing better than the other team. They're just not outscoring, and it's annoying when you do have Jonathan Quick playing as well as he is, because he should be stealing all these games for us, but the Kings are just not giving him the goal support that's needed. Next game was against the Minnesota Wild, top team in the Western Division, and again, Kings played very good. Marcus Foligno got the first goal, but Kings were able to tie it, and then Brendan Lemieux in his comeback gets the game-winning goal. Get some water splashed on him, and as tough as it is to like Brendan Lemieux, especially with with the biting incident. I've said a couple times already this season, I'm a big fan of him. He's won me over, and I think tonight, obviously he won the game, but hopefully he's winning over some more Kings fans, because look, you don't have to like everything he does, but you have to admit that he brings a lot of energy to the team. And tonight, getting the game-winning goal is kind of the perfect example. So again, just a very solid game for the Kings, where they were able to outplay the Minnesota Wild. And again, it was 2 goals. Jonathan Quick keeps them to within 1 goal, and luckily the Kings were able to score 2 goals. But if the Kings were able to score on all the chances they got, I mean, this could be a 4-5-1 game easily. And that's against a very good Minnesota Wild team who was on a 7 or 8 game winning streak at the time. So another good game. Then we go to the Lightning game, and this was a very similar situation. The Lightning, obviously a great team, 2-time Stanley Cup champs, and the Kings looked very good. They, I think, outplayed them at a lot of times in the game, but Victor Hedman just demolishes a puck, and one of the best slap shots I've seen in a long time. That gets by Jonathan Quick, and they're able to tie it in the second period. And eventually it goes to OT, where Victor Arvidsson definitely gets tripped. It's not called, and Joseph's able to win it after committing a penalty. But, again, just even though it was a loss, at least we're getting a point, and it's just another game where the Kings, in my opinion, played to the level of one of the top teams in the league. And if it wasn't for the fact that the Kings are struggling to score goals, this is a game that the Kings win, I think, pretty convincingly. I think most of the momentum and the, kind of the flow of the game was in the Kings' favor, just not on the goal scoring side. So again, really good game for the Kings against a really good team, picking up a point. All right, and the last game of the video is the Florida Panthers, another very good team. But this one felt like a trap game, especially in the first period when the Kings looked very flat and Florida was able to get the first goal. But super depleted Florida Panthers team. Luckily, the Kings were able to get through the first period. Jonathan Quick, I mean, he's been phenomenal the whole season, but tonight, just so many great saves, insane amount of saves from Jonathan Quick, and the Kings are able to win. And I think important for me is the guys getting goals. It's all the guys who want to get goals. Kaliev gets a goal. Kaliev, despite not scoring recently, I think he's looked so good for the Kings. I keep talking about how he's just, it's visibly obvious how much he's developing throughout the season. He's getting very strong, strong in the puck, strong in the board battles. He's becoming more of a physical player and not so much the player that he was in juniors, where he kind of just stayed on the perimeter waiting for a pass to unload his shot. He's really getting active in the game, and I think that's why that's what the Kings want from him, and that's why he's been playing. Even though he's getting fourth line minutes, he's still being an effective player, and he's learning parts of the game that he's going to need going forward to when he does develop into that top 6, hopefully top line goal scoring player, where you can't just be an Alexander Ovechkin or a Steven Stamkos. And I mean, those aren't even good comparisons, because both those guys do a lot of stuff besides scoring goals. But you can't just, sit on the dot and wait for a one-timer. You have to be able to play every part of the game. And Kaliev has been getting a lot better with that. And then Dustin Brown getting a goal. It was a really nice goal from Dustin Brown. He gets his 4th of the year. It's nice to see him get on the board. And Kopitar, he had a very long goal scoring drought. He finally gets through that by scoring his 9th of the year. And that was just an amazing goal too. Kopitar is so sneaky skilled. I mean, every time people talk about Kopitar, it's always the 200-foot game and defensive forwards, Selkies. But people don't, either they don't realize or it just gets overlooked. But the amount of skill that Kopitar has is just mind-boggling, and that backhand shot that he was able to score tonight, it was filthy, and hopefully that kind of gets him out of his little slump that he was in. Not that he was playing poorly, but just getting on the score sheet with a goal. But despite that, I mean, he's been getting assists almost every game anyway, so really good game from the Kings to avoid the trap, get through a pretty rough first period, and kind of remember, hey, we're the better team here. We're playing pretty much an AHL team with a couple NHL players, so good game for them, and hopefully that kind of helps the Kings going through the rest of the road trip. It's a couple more pretty tough games. The Capitals are going to be a tough one. Carolina's struggling with COVID right now, so we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, the Kings are also potentially going to be missing Drew Doughty with COVID, so that's going to be something that the Kings are going to have to deal with. But I think that, the way the Kings are playing, it's not going to be a huge problem. There's a lot of talk about Olli Maatta. Oh, he's got to step up, Christian Wolanin. But I think the Kings, what they're doing this season and the system that they've put into place, it's really a team effort on defense, and especially kind of defending by being in the offensive zone. A lot of forechecking. Jonathan Quick, again, standing on his head all the time is also very helpful, because this game honestly could have gone the other way if Jonathan Quick is not in the net. And so, it was a solid performance. And like I said, the Kings are going to need to bring that into the future. And I want to wrap up the video with this article that has been making the rounds through Kings internet waves. And it's Jakob Chychrun. Jakob Chychrun reportedly may be on the block. And in my opinion, Jakob Chychrun is, if you're going to make a move, I wanted the Jack Eichel move. So, this isn't the only move I think the Kings really should go for, but this is the move the Kings really should go for. Jakob Chychrun, I believe, one of the top defensemen in the league. We saw a lot of him last year. I think he could have got Norris votes based on the way he played. Offensively, he's got an amazing shot, good with the puck. Defensively, he's also very strong. I'm a big Jakob Chychrun fan. This year, it's not going great for him, but you have to look at the team he's on. I mean, the Coyotes are a very, very bad team. I mean, he has very little help, and so, of course, the numbers are going to drop a little bit, but I have no doubts that Jakob Chychrun is one of the top defensemen in the league. If the Kings could go and try and trade for him, 100% they should be calling the Coyotes and offering whatever the Coyotes realistically want. I mean, I've seen people commenting that, anybody but Byfield and Brandt Clark. I agree with Byfield. I don't think the Kings should be trading Byfield. He's got a lot of future potential to reach, and it's unfortunate we haven't been able to see him because of his injury, and hopefully he does return soon. But even with Brandt Clark, I think Brandt Clark is going to be a good player. I'm excited to see what Brandt Clark could do if he remains on the Kings, but I don't know if Brandt Clark, I don't know how amazing he can be compared to a Jakob Chychrun. I think this is where a lot of fans over evaluate and overestimate how good their prospects are going to be, because Jakob Chychrun right now is a legitimate number one defenseman, a legitimate Norris candidate who's got offensive skill. He's really improved his defensive game, great skating, everything that you would want in a top pairing defenseman. Jakob Chychrun has it, and he's still very young. If he's on the market, I have no problem getting rid of Brandt Clark in a trade, because at best Brandt Clark is going to be somewhat like a Jakob Chychrun, and I don't know if Brandt Clark has the defensive capabilities that Chychrun does. I don't know if he's going to be as physical as Jakob Chychrun. He's not going to be as good of a skater as Jakob Chychrun, so maybe you can argue that Brandt Clark is going to bring a little bit more offense, but is that enough to make up the difference between what Jakob Chychrun brings all around? Personally, I don't think so. And with Jakob Chychrun, you know what you're getting. He's a legitimate number one defenseman already. Again, he's very young, so as much as you do want your prospects, and especially with the rebuild that the Kings have had, we've got so many young prospects that we're putting so much hope and and future greatness on. I just think, right now is where it matters. And you can see with the team how guys like Victor Arvidsson have made this team better. A guy like Philip Deneau has made the team better. Alex Edler, before the injury, he made this team better. Jakob Chychrun, you're getting a player who's going to make this team much better right now. And that's the spot that the Kings are in right now. They don't want to keep rebuilding for another 2-3 seasons. You don't have much time with Drew Doughty and Anze Kopitar playing at the level they are. So use this time wisely. We have so many prospects in the pool that we can put out there in a trade for Jakob Chychrun. Do it. They're going to be asking for a lot. The Kings have the ability to match it, but if they do, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be upset with it. He is the kind of player that this team needs. He's one of my favorite players to watch on opponents' teams. And, you know, like I said, we've seen a lot of him last season with the COVID season, and he's just a very, very good, strong player. And so if the Kings are going to go for it, I say go for it. I say throw whoever you need to in the deal, because you're not going to find a Jakob Chychrun very often. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks everybody for watching it, and do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that. I do want to say that I want to apologize for the videos. They've been coming out very randomly, just because I've been super busy with work. But I'm gonna start trying to really put these videos out there a lot more regularly. I'm shooting for Friday to kind of be my release day, Friday early in the morning for West Coast, kind of mid-afternoon my time here in the East Coast. But we'll see how I can stick with that. Things should be getting a little easier for me and my schedule. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you guys stick around and keep an eye out on Fridays for new videos, and hopefully some more good Kings hockey, and getting out of this 6th place in the West, because the Pacific, because the West it's wide open right now. You know, the Kings are a nice, you know, finish to the road trip away from being in a playoff spot, and I think that's where this team deserves to be. I honestly do believe that, what I've said about this team. I think we're one of the better teams in the league. Jonathan Quick is playing like a top 5 goalie in the league, and if the Kings can find the offense again, if Kopitar can start scoring a little bit more, Kempe can keep up his pace, Iafallo can keep up his pace, guys like Kupari and Kaliev can kind of start producing a little bit more, getting on the goal sheet a little bit more. This team has a lot of potential, and it's not far out, you know, 2-3 seasons from now potential. It's end of the season potential. It's, you know, I think this is a team that if we could squeak into the playoffs, we could win a series. You know, we could beat a good team in the playoffs with the style of play that we play. You know, it kind of depends on who you match up against, but I'm just thinking about someone like the Oilers. You know, if we can get a wild card spot and we face the Oilers, that's a series that I feel like the Kings could win. You know, I mean, and once you get out of the first round, who knows what happens? Obviously, this is, you know, far down the road, and, you know, come late January, it's probably going to sound really stupid when we're back in the basement again. But that's what I really believe that this team is capable of, and that's what I want to see from the team going forward. Hopefully, that does come true, and hopefully, you guys stick around on the channel for that to pay off, and for us to have some really good, meaningful hockey again later in the year. So thank you again, and have a good one.